Hey guys, how you doing? It's KJ coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends, and today we're going for not only a Iron Twins video, but we are going for a double upload. I'm sure YouTube is going to absolutely love this, that I've gone from not uploading regularly to 2 videos on the same day, but that tends to be a me problem. So, post-recording me here, turns out it takes much longer than I thought to record a video. That video was recorded on Monday. It is now Wednesday evening. I'm just coming around to editing it, and turns out it wasn't a double upload day on Monday. So, thanks for watching, and hopefully, I will learn how fast it takes me to edit a video. So, right, Iron Twins. I see a lot of people struggling with this game mode, and I can see why. It is probably, next to Hydra or Hard Doom Tower, it is possibly the hardest content in the game to clear, because a lot of the team compositions rely on having a certain amount of a particular champion. Now, there are some fantastic videos on this that other bigger creators have done that rely on a champion like a Warcaster or a Rosh card. I do not have the preferred. I know the preferred champion is a Helicath. I do not have that champion. I was unable to get him, so that was out of the question for me. I can't run the Helicath team because I don't have a Helicath, but I know it does run with a Rosh card. I'm not sure about a Warcaster, and I'm not sure about Sir Nicholas either. I think Sir Nicholas does, but to run it on auto with Sir Nicholas, I think you'd need to disable his A2, like you used to have to do for Clan Boss. But once again, without actually playtesting that team, I couldn't give you the truth of it, and I don't have a Sir Nicholas on my account, so I can't even playtest. But to run those teams, it relies on 3 Painkeepers. Now, I don't know about you, but having 3 of any champion, until Iron Twins, there was no need really to have 3 of any rare. Other than possibly Cold Heart, there was no need to have 3 copies of any rare just lying around, built, ready to go. And okay, granted, for Iron Twins, you do not need 3 Painkeepers at level 60 or built and decked out. You have 1 Painkeeper or built and decked out, like I have here. You then have a second Painkeeper. I believe I do have a second one. Yep. Who is just slightly slower than your main Painkeeper. And then you have a third Painkeeper that is ideal at level 30 or level 40. That is just built for the speed they need. No damage stats, no nothing else. And you just cycle through their cooldown ability. This combat tactics and their A3. You just cycle through that with each one to keep block damage up, and then have a Geomancer come in and then you have a Geomancer come in over the top with his Quicksand Grasps, which is going to be constantly on because you're running 3 Painkeepers, so this will always be coming off cooldown. The 3-turn cooldown, and every time a Painkeeper does an A3, sorry, takes 1 off it. So you got 3 Painkeepers all doing this. It's back round again. And you can keep that going. But as I said, I'm unable to run that team, so I've had to find a different way to do it. I've had to go back to basics with this and look at what mechanics do I need to bring to keep a team going in this mode. So what I settled on was actually, there are 3 champions you can use for this composition. I have 2 of them. The third one, he's at the top of my most wanted list for epics in the game. That's right, you are only relying on epics for this composition style to work. So I'm going to break down the rest of my team and why I bring them, and then I will break down the 3 specific epics you can use to help carry you through Iron Twins. I am going to caveat this of it is limited to the accuracy you are able to reach. The higher accuracy level you can get, the further this team will go. But this team runs anywhere from stage 11 or 12, dependent on affinity and who I'm actually running as the 5th champion. So, the first 4 champions on my list that I run. Now, please bear in mind, other than 2 champions in this, they are all completely interchangeable. It is just whoever you want to be bringing. I run a team where I am concentrating on making sure that as I'm pushing further through, I've got the survivability going. But if survivability isn't an issue for you, then you can change this out and run different types of DPS and things like that. So in my composition, I run my Duchess in a HP defense resistance build. She's actually built for arena, but I use her in the same build because I don't want to be rebuilding Duchess every time I want to do anything. I do have a second I'm going to build out, so that will allow me then a little bit more resilience on my Duchess. I could build a Duchess out just for content outside of arena and have an arena and a PvE Duchess, which will be great. I then also run my Valkyrie just for the shield on her A2 and the counter attack. And then I run my Cardiel just for the crit rate, crit damage buff, and the ally attack. Also great for the block debuffs and revive on death mechanic. So once again, as I said, I've built this team to ensure survivability and get the damage done. So those three are my survivability champs. So I've got Duchess to bring everybody back should they go down. Cardiel once again does the same thing. If someone goes down while they have the revive on death mechanic on, they're going to come back. Not a problem. I don't have to worry about that. And then I have Valk, who's dropping big shields on everyone constantly, so they can take a little bit more of a smack. And then we'll go for DPS next, which is actually Geo, just like it is in the big builds, the free Painkeeper builds, it's Geo. And there are other DPSs you can use, but no one does it quite like Geo. And I use him in this composition slightly backwards to how other compositions would run him. So if you're running Geo in Iron Twins, usually after Quicksand Grasp has gone off, you are then trying to do everything you can to boost the Iron Twins turn meter, getting them to go as often as they can to force the damage out from this. Whereas I actually go the other way. So I have Geo doing Quicksand Grasp, and then of course I have Brimstone on my Valkyrie. Both of which do considerable damage to the Iron Twins. I was wrong earlier, by the way. It's 2 epics and a legendary, but the legendary is free. So I'm going to give myself a pass on that. So we'll start with the legendary, and then you can probably guess who the 2 epics are going to be. So Syl of the Drakes is the first of these 3 champions. And the reason we bring Syl, mine is in Relentless, because of course she's used elsewhere. These champions are champions I've built to use elsewhere. So Syl, I've built for Dungeons and Faction Wars, but she works in this build in Iron Twins. That's why I'm limited to where I can go, because her accuracy, which is the main stat I need from her in this, is actually a little bit low to keep pushing on. But then she does have a good chunk of HP, good chunk of defense, and speed to keep her relevant. Everyone in this team, you're going to want anywhere between 170 for damage and then 200 to 220 for everybody else for survivability. And Syl is in this team to use one ability. All Syl does is decrease speed. All she does. I've got her A2 and her A3 turned off. I just want her placing decreased speed as often as she can. Now, yes, she's not great because the 20%, 50% chance, 40% chance when booked of landing decreased speed, but it's still an attempt at landing decreased speed. This is why she works so well in Relentless gear, and this is the only reason I bring her into Iron Twins. And then another great alternative for this, Mausoleum Mage, who once again, on his A1, has, when booked, a 50% chance of placing decreased speed buff for 2 turns. And he, once again, I've disabled his A2 and his A3. He's just there to keep spamming decrease speed debuff for 2 turns. And keep that going as consistently as he can. And once again, he's just built the HP for survivability, speed, same as Sills, and then accuracy 390. So this is more than enough accuracy for stages 11, 12, 13. Anything above that, you're going to be probably talking closer to 450 accuracy than 390. But with a bit of RNG, you could probably get the job done. And then the third alternative, which is the one I do not have, who is the best champion for this spot, is Stag Knight. Now, Stag Knight, once again, just have him spam his decreased speed against the Iron Twins, and that will help you then push through. So, let's jump over. Here we go, stage 12. So this is the team I run for Spirit. Then if we come down to my Iron Twins at the bottom, for Magic, I then sub out Syl for Mausoleum Mage. And that is it. And if we go to my team setup, we'll have a look, and you can see all I've done is to get Quicksand Grasp off as fast as I can. And then, oh, it's forgot. So if we take a look at the composition and how it's set up, Duchess is all auto. I don't want to limit what she's doing. Cardial is exactly the same. Valkyrie, exactly the same. Geomancer is just set up to get Quicksand Grasp out as fast as he can. And Scylla the Drakes has got her A2 and her A3 disabled. I do not need her for survivability. I just need decrease speed. So what we'll do is we'll run. I've saved keys specifically to run this now. I've got a bit of energy. So we'll do a quick run. I will show you how this team works, how it's set up. It is full auto from the start. And then we'll take a look, and that should hopefully enable you to be able to start looking at teams you need to be building and stats you need to look at to be running Iron Twins at a decent level to be getting rewards that are worthwhile. Right, there we go. So we have the HP burn out. Now all we need is the decreased speed, which still hasn't gone. This is the downside to running people who've got such a low chance of placing, is that it can sometimes take a couple of attempts. There we go. So we got decreased speed. What this does, this is why it's counterproductive. People think to run a Syl or a Mors or a Stag Knight with the Geo in this. Which one is it? There we go. So on the first passive, Retaliatory Launch fills the Iron Twins turn meter by 10% whenever an enemy receives a buff. Will not fill the turn meter if the Iron Twins are under decreased speed. So, you can either, the two ways of running this are you do not run decreased speed, you get his thing up, and then you just spam buffs as much as you can to get the Iron Twins to kill themselves. Or you run a decreased speed with some survivability, and then just keep getting Quicksand Grasps up as often as you can and keep decreased speed on at all times. This enables you to have slightly less survivability the further on you push. So as I said, if I could get the accuracy together for Geo, Syl, and Mausoleum Mage, I could probably push on another level or two with ease. But I can't, so I'm very much limited to where I am for now. Right, there we are, 2 minutes in, and we're at the halfway mark. This has actually been quite a slow run, so I'm going to guess Syl's not been landing decreased speed all that much, or that Geo's not rotated around as quickly as we'd like. But this team is, I'd say, probably 98% successful. I probably had 2, maybe 3 failed runs with this team, whether that's a Sil variant or the Mausoleum Mage variant. But of course, this works much better against Void and against their strong affinity. But this is a very consistent team to be doing this stage. Now, I don't think this team is better than being able to run a Helicath triple Painkeeper team. But these are much easier abilities to find than 1 Helicath, 3 Painkeepers. Because 3 Painkeepers, although only a rare, she's a Void rare, so 3 Painkeepers can be quite hard to find and quite hard to build. And especially if you're relying on having Helicath and you don't want to try and mess around with speeds to make it work with other champions you may have available. But, right, next turn of the Iron Twins, it should be game over. And there we go. So 3 minutes 38. That 2 minutes 58 is my fastest run with this exact team. Now, once again, the rewards, as we already know, they aren't great, but they are rewards at the end of the day. So you do not find this productive. There is no harm in just getting a team that can do Void as high as you can on a Sunday and just run 6 keys once a week. I run this pretty much for 6 keys every day. And if I've got the gems, I may run another 6 keys then on a Sunday against Void, just because the rewards are slightly better. But hopefully this helped you understand the sort of things you need to be bringing into an Iron Twins team if you cannot run an unkillable composition. So if you learned anything new, let me know down in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching.